What if I told you the 2025 São Paulo Grand Prix wasn't just another race? It was a statement that McLaren is back. And Lando Norris? He didn't just win, he owned Interlagos. Because yesterday, under the blazing Brazilian sun and the roar of 150,000 fans, Lando Norris delivered the drive of his career, a masterclass in speed, precision, and pure control. Welcome back to F1 Unpacked, the home of all things Formula One, where we break down every race, every strategy, and every moment that makes this sport the pinnacle of motorsport drama. And today, we're talking about that performance, Lando Norris's stunning victory at the 2025 São Paulo Grand Prix. We'll dive into how McLaren outsmarted Red Bull and Mercedes, the key strategic calls that made the difference, and what this win means for the team heading into the 2026 regulation era. So buckle up, because this wasn't just a race. This was a resurgence. The weekend began with tension in the air. Interlagos, a track known for chaos, drama, and unpredictable weather, promised fireworks. Qualifying had already set the tone. Lando Norris in his orange and black MCL 38 stunned everyone with a blistering lap that put him on pole, just 0.012 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Behind them, George Russell lined up third, while Oscar Piastri slotted in fourth, making it an all-British front three for the first time in 1998. But nobody expected what was about to unfold on Sunday. The start lights went out, and the atmosphere exploded. Norris launched perfectly, defending from Verstappen into turn one, braking late, cool as ice. Behind, chaos erupted as Leclerc tangled with Alonso, sending sparks flying and debris across the Senna S. But out front, Lando was gone. Within the first 10 laps, he opened a 2-second gap. It wasn't just raw pace, it was control. Every corner, every braking zone, he looked like a man completely in tune with his machine. McLaren's upgrades from Austin in Mexico were finally showing their full potential. A lighter chassis, a reworked rear wing for downforce efficiency, and a power unit tweak that gave Lando the top-end grunt to hold off Red Bull on the straights. This was McLaren firing on all cylinders. The battle builds. But Interlagos never gives easy victories. By lap 20, Verstappen started closing in. Red Bull switched Max to an aggressive undercut strategy, pitting early to force McLaren's hand. It was a gamble. McLaren responded perfectly. They pitted Norris one lap later, and the orange pit crew delivered a 1.9-second stop, the fastest of the season. When Norris rejoined, he just stayed ahead of Verstappen with millimeters to spare as they went side by side through turn 4. The crowd went wild. And that's when Norris fought back. Instead of cracking under pressure, he found another gear. For the next 15 laps, he set a series of fastest laps, extending the gap again. 3 seconds, then 4, then 5. You could almost feel the frustration in the Red Bull garage. For once this season, Verstappen didn't have the answer. But wait till you hear what happened on lap 45, because this moment changed everything. Just as Norris seemed untouchable, the virtual safety car came out. A debris piece from Ocon's front wing lay on the main straight, neutralizing the race. Red Bull seized the chance. They double-stacked Verstappen and Perez for fresh mediums. McLaren hesitated for a heartbeat. Would they pit Norris and risk losing track position, or stay out and trust his worn tires? Zak Brown's voice crackled on the radio. Stay out. Trust the pace. And trust it they did. When the VSC ended, Verstappen came flying, closing the gap to 1.2 seconds. For 6 tense laps, he hunted Lando, corner after corner, DRS open, trying every trick. But Norris, calm, clinical, ruthless, defended perfectly. Not a wheel out of place, not a single lockup. On lap 54, he broke DRS range again. And that was the moment everyone knew. This wasn't just luck or strategy. This was domination. The McLaren machine. Behind the scenes, McLaren's pit wall was electric. Andrea Stella's strategy team executed flawless coordination. Every call was timed to perfection: tire management, energy deployment, and sector balancing. The telemetry told the story. Norris's tire wear was nearly 8% lower than Verstappen's on average. That's racecraft. That's what separates a fast driver from a great one. Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri quietly drove a phenomenal race in P4, fending off Hamilton and Leclerc in a multi-lap battle that had fans on their feet. For McLaren, both cars in the top 5 meant crucial points and a statement to Mercedes and Ferrari. The team that was once fighting just to make Q3 last year was now dictating the tempo at the front of the grid. The other contenders. Let's talk about the others, because it wasn't just McLaren making headlines. Max Verstappen was visibly agitated after the race. Post-race interviews showed rare frustration. "We just didn't have the pace today," he admitted. "They were quicker everywhere." It was the first time since 2023 that Verstappen looked genuinely beaten on merit. George Russell's Mercedes had solid race pace, but struggled with overheating brakes, forcing him to settle for P3. Hamilton, after a poor start, clawed his way back to P6, showcasing the old magic, but not enough to threaten the podium. Ferrari's weekend was one to forget. Leclerc's first-lap contact ended his race early, and Sainz's strategic call to stay out during the VSC backfired, dropping him to P8. But the biggest heartbreak? Aston Martin. After showing promise in qualifying, both cars faded, with Alonso retiring due to a mechanical failure on lap 39. By lap 65, with just 6 laps remaining, the orange papyrus flags waved across the grandstands. Norris's lead, 7.3 seconds. The crowd could sense history. For a moment, it felt like the ghosts of McLaren's glory days, Senna, Prost, Hakkinen, were watching. The final lap came. Norris, smooth and unshaken, crossed the finish line, P1. His second win of the 2025 season, but easily the most commanding of his career. "Yes, yes, yes!" he shouted over the radio. "We did it, guys! Absolutely mega job!" "Thank you." And Andrea Stella's calm voice replied, "You were flawless today, Lando. Absolutely flawless." And as he slowed down for the cool-down lap, the grandstands erupted. Brazil, the land of Senna, has always had a soft spot for McLaren, and now it was roaring for Norris. The emotion and meaning behind the win. Let's take a step back, because this win means so much more than 25 points. For Lando Norris, this was personal redemption. After years of near misses, heartbreaks, and finishing second to the Red Bulls, this was proof he's no longer the young talent. He's the man to beat. For McLaren, it marks the culmination of a 3-year rebuild that started in 2023. They didn't just improve the car, they reinvented the team. The internal culture shift under Andrea Stella, the aggressive upgrade strategy, and the newfound synergy between Norris and Piastri, it all came together on one magical afternoon in São Paulo. Zach Brown called it a turning point. And he's right. This wasn't a fluke. This was a benchmark. The bigger picture, 2026 and beyond. Now the big question, what does this mean heading into 2026? Remember, 2026 brings massive regulation changes, new power unit specs, lighter chassis, and a push toward more sustainable fuels. McLaren's form now suggests something crucial. They're not just ready for the future, they're building toward it. If this momentum carries into next year, we could be looking at the strongest McLaren since the 2012 Button-Hamilton era, maybe even stronger. Red Bull's dominance, once untouchable, suddenly feels, well, human. Mercedes is rebuilding. Ferrari is struggling for consistency. And McLaren, they're rising like a phoenix from the ashes. As Lando stood on that top step, Brazilian flags waving, you could almost sense the symbolism. A British driver in a McLaren winning at Senna's home. It doesn't get more poetic than that. So, there it is. Lando Norris's masterclass at the 2025 São Paulo Grand Prix, a race that reminded us why we love this sport. Because sometimes it's not about chaos, crashes, or controversy. It's about perfection. It's about a driver and machine in absolute harmony. McLaren is back, and the grid knows it. Red Bull's armor has cracks, and with the 2026 season just around the corner, one thing's for sure: the fight for the next championship just got very real. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into the most dramatic moments in Formula One, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment. What did you think of Lando's performance in São Paulo? Was this the race that changes everything for McLaren? Until next time, this is F1 Unpacked, signing off. See you at Las Vegas.